Yo everybody, welcome to another episode of Vestabond's Blood Box. We're here to talk about things metal, all things around metal, and you know the spiel by now, just metal stuff in general. So, here today, just doing another real fast collection update. It's going to be a pretty short video. Just a heads up moving forward for the next few weeks, probably about 3 weeks or so. We are moving. As you can see, that's what all the boxes are in the background and everything. We're moving to a new flat and close to downtown Minneapolis, and I will have a dedicated studio for music, art, and doing these videos. So really excited about that. When we come back, we're gonna do a lot of cool videos from there. So I may still hop into these collection updates every once in a while, but there will be some more involved things coming in the future once we get all moved and settled in. So yeah, just quick collection update today. What we're hearing in the background, really excited to finally get this, is Mork. Mork Sirens is the name of this album. There's another band named Mork, spelled differently, I believe from somewhere in the Scandinavia, that is also great black metal, but this is the Mork local to Minneapolis. All music recorded, produced, mixed, mastered, I mean everything here. It's all instruments and vocals written, recorded, mixed, mastered, and produced by Eric Wing. This was in the fall of 2017. So, really, really amazing music, especially coming out from one person. Eric is quite involved in the metal community up here. They are also involved in other music projects. I know there's some death metal projects that they've been involved in. But Mork is fantastic. All the album covers are cool too. They use these kind of classical paintings, maybe from the same artist. I'm not sure. I need to look into that, but really stellar stuff. It's cool too because one, as you can hear, it's what's playing in the background. It's really solid black metal. The musicianship is fantastic. I really dig Eric's vocal style because it's really crisp and clean, which, you know, it's a hard thing to do when you're doing those screaming vocals. So Eric does a fantastic job. Also cool and worth mentioning that Eric is a member of the LGBTQ community and speaks a lot about those issues, and a lot of the lyrical content of Eric's work is just about personal experiences in general, hard things to talk about. So Eric is a fantastic musical artist, and really dig their stuff. So Mork, definitely check this out. Wonderful album. I picked this up. This is Helgafell. My lighting's terrible today. You can see there, Helgafell. Really dug this album. Hadn't heard of him until this last release. Can't really see that, can you? There we go. Stellar folk black metal. If you're into folk black metal, this is a really, really good release. It's got, you know, your acoustic passages and awesome black metal with more melodic vocals and things like that. I mean, it's got the screaming vocals, but there's a lot of melody to it. So, Folkfinger just does a really stellar job too. All of their cassettes are always really nice. Everything's printed on really high quality paper. Don't want to lose my download code. But as you can see here, it's kind of hard to tell without feeling it, but really high quality work. So, really cool stuff. Really dig this band. Check them out. I know Helgafell on their Bandcamp has some vinyl available of this. I think they're doing it themselves. I think there's only like 8 available. So there's still a few left if you want to get them. I think they're from overseas, so they're pretty pricey with shipping. And it'll probably take a while because of everything going on. But Folkfinger still has the cassettes, so check that out for sure. So I'm going to share this with you too. It's kind of a shameless plug, but I'm excited about it, so I'm just going to throw it in here because it's kind of part of the collection too. In that same release, my album is officially released through Folkfinger now too, which I am extremely excited about. I'm not going to lie, I really love Folkfinger records. It's been a little bit of a dream of mine to have something released on them back when I found them a few years ago. And they released my Dungeon Synth album. So this is my project Feather, The Unwakeable Dream. I just got my copies of the cassettes here. There are still some available at Folkfinger if you're interested. So definitely go check that out if that's something you would like. I've got my copies too, but I'm probably going to hold on to them for... There's some talk of doing some Dungeons & Synth live shows and things here in Minneapolis, so I may hang on to them for that. But yeah, here's the J card. Again, the print quality is amazing through Fullfinger. He really does Mark does a fantastic job. So, shameless plug, my project. There it is. Let's see. Again, not a lot today, just a few things here. Was stoked to get this. Fief, however you decide to say it. It's the vinyl. If you watched my Dungeons & Synth video, you've heard me talk about them already. But this is the vinyl of the first and second album. It's a double LP in a sleeve. Really awesome layout. I love the Fief kind of traditional Renaissance artwork and the conservative sort of design, but it's conservative for a reason. It's very decidedly conservative and really fantastically laid out. So cool stuff. Sounds fantastic. I don't know if they remastered the music for vinyl, but it sounds like they did. It really sounds amazing for Dungeons & Synth being on a vinyl record. So, out of season, I think still has some copies of the black. I know Foreign Sounds also has this out, so you may be able to get some from them. But if you're interested, still available on vinyl. And with that, I got this little announcement from out of season. That is really exciting because it says that they will be releasing Fief's albums 3 and 4 together like they did with this one, and also album 5. So we'll be able to have the full Fief collection in vinyl soon. So I'm super stoked about that. So as you can see there, that's the announcement that came with it, along with other fantastic releases. Can't tell if that's backwards. From my camera, it looks backwards. So anyways, you know what's up. So also with that, let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in this. I have the full 1, 2, 3, 4 Fief albums on CD, the double CD that was released by Out of Season. It's the first edition. If I can get them all on vinyl, I don't really have use for the CD anymore, so I might do a raffle if you guys would be interested in that. Just something easy for fun, and I'll send it to whoever wins. But I'll let you know about that if I decide to do it. It's kind of dependent on if I can get it all on vinyl or not, but that might be a fun thing to do in the future. So there's Fief. So one of my personally greatly anticipated albums of 2020 was this, which is Twilight Fauna's Foundations. Really dig this band. If you're not familiar with Twilight Fauna, this is highly recommended for fans of Panopticon, if you like that, or some of the maybe Falls of Raros and some of those bands too. I compare this to Panopticon because the guy behind this uses a lot of the same elements in the sense that he uses banjos and mandolins and violins and things like that, folk instruments intermingled with black metal, similar to Panopticon. But that comparison is just with the instruments that are used. Twilight Fauna is definitely its own project. It is not a clone or copy of Panopticon in any way, shape, or form. It is distinctly its own music. But if you're into that sort of Americana folk mixed with black metal thing, this is a great band to check out. Twilight Fauna's had some great work come out lately, over the last few years. This one, though, I think is the height so far of Twilight Fauna's work. I'm excited to hear what happens with them in the future, but this one is probably the most organized and it's the strongest album that Twilight Fauna has come out with yet. It's a double LP, also in a single sleeve here, as you can see. My favorite song on it was actually a song that was pre-released before the album came out. It's called Tavern Hill. Really beautiful song. It starts with a banjo, but it's not like a folksy or not a bluegrassy type vibe. It's really a dark, sort of melancholy banjo and then it kicks into some black metal guitars and vocals and such. So really cool stuff. I've heard a little bit of it. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but I'm excited to really get into this. Also, I was pretty excited that this release has a beautiful colored vinyl. This is how you do colored vinyl if you're going to do it. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's like marble. as you can see there. See if you can get in the light a little bit. See, you can see it in the light a little bit there. But, yeah, absolutely gorgeous vinyl. Both LPs have the white and sort of milky look there. You know, and I think in one of the live streams or talking to somebody, I was kind of harping on colored vinyl a little bit, and really this is of course just my opinion. Everybody can have a different opinion. I completely understand that. Some people really love collecting all versions of colored vinyl from all projects, but in my opinion, I'll share this real quick with colored vinyl. I like when bands do this. So, for instance, the color of the vinyl matches the album artwork. It was thought out as part of the art of the whole package. I think that's really cool. Also, this was only released in this color. There's not a black variant or any other variants. So the color of the vinyl was specific to the release. I really dig that. What gets on my nerves is when you get, and this is mostly bigger labels that do this, but you'll get, say, for instance, Mayhem Damon when that came out. And I even heard the band sort of complain about this too, because they weren't all about it, but there was like 200 yellow and 200 red and 200 purple and just over and over and over, and it's just like, what's the point? It doesn't make any difference, you know? So that gets a little annoying. I'm not a big fan of that. But, you know, like other label that I think does it really well is Bindrun, especially with the Panopticon records. So, for instance, Kentucky from Panopticon is one of Panopticon's biggest selling albums, to my understanding. There's lots of represses with it. And how Bindrun does it is with each repress, that vinyl is a different color. And that makes sense. That's really cool because that way you know which, I guess, era or which release of it is. And that's a good way to do it because that way if you are a collector, yours is differentiated from others, but it's not trying to squeeze water out of a stone by releasing as many colored variants as you can, you know, so... When it's done like that, where it makes sense for the release, or if it's done like this, where it is specific to the artwork and the whole package of the release, I think that's awesome and really well done. So there's my opinion on colored vinyl, if anyone cares. So I've got on a little rant there. Sorry. All right, moving right along. As I said in my last video, I'm starting to get into death metal a little bit more. I've been pretty obsessed with black metal for the last 10 years. And I think anybody, once you start really just obsessing over a genre or something, you start to get a little burnt out on it. I mean, that's not the band's fault. That's me for just listening to that for so long. So, and I listen to other stuff too, other than metal, but within metal, I've been trying to get into death metal a little bit more and sort of branch into that. And I'm approaching it a little more, instead of going through historically and listening to albums chronologically, which I did kind of with black metal. I'm just sort of jumping out. Oh, if that album cover looks interesting, I'll try that. So picked this one up. Of course, I think this is kind of maybe in the historical realm of death metal, but Entombed's Clandestine, their second album, I believe. Just dug the artwork. I was like, yeah, let's give that a shot. I know Entombed's kind of one of the big names in death metal, so let's give it a shot. And I like it. I love it so far. It's really solid, classic death metal. I'm not well versed enough in death metal yet to have a lot of different descriptive words for it. Still learning. But yeah, I just think it's really solid, classic death metal, so been digging this. One of the things I've been noticing too that I like is this other album I showed in my last video, but I dig when album artwork kind of has similarities and matches well. I think this Avulsed record sort of matched the Entombed record. Nice, cool artwork on them. Death metal has stellar album artwork, by the way, I will say. Really cool stuff. So, yeah, Entombed. Not a lot to say about it yet. Listening to it, I like it so far. Let's see. So, in that same death metal vein, I also picked up this Casket Huffer. This is more modern death metal. I actually thought this was going to be a black metal album, judging by the album artwork and the logo and stuff, but it is definitely a death metal album. Really solid, more modern death metal to my understanding. It's not so much the classic stuff, pretty harsh, raw death metal. I really dig this too, because again, being a black metal person, this kind of death metal fits sort of in that vein a little more. It's, I don't know if you call it black and death metal or not, but yeah, it's solid. Has a nice cool foil logo too. But yeah, this one is great. Cool back album artwork also. Same thing with this, with an album I got last week with Diabolical Masquerade. I dug how the album artwork was somewhat similar. So I'm just going to have a collection of albums with candles on the front eventually here. So, but very different albums, as you heard me talk about this. This is straight black metal. This is more death metal. So cool stuff. Definitely check it out if you haven't yet. So yeah, super quick video today, guys. I know not much to show, not much to talk about right now. Again, moving forward, once we move into our new place and I've got an appropriate studio, I've got some cool collection ideas of talking about some bands throughout history, or I've got some larger collections of individual bands that I want to talk about. So those will be coming probably about a month or so. But yeah, I'll just keep hopping in, doing these collection updates as stuff comes. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you again soon, and be safe out there, my friends.